So here we are with yet another debut from ELAC, and you might be wondering why the speaker is even called a debut. Well, here is a clue. Don't just look at the features or the design. Think about who the speaker is actually for. Now, this is a powered speaker retailing at £699 here in the UK, so it could be for someone just starting out on their hi-fi journey, or it could be for a student, or perhaps it is for an audiophile looking for a second or even a third setup. This is for a musician setting up their studio. This is for an office. This is for a gamer. This is for a sound engineer who needs great audio at their desk. This is for basically anyone who wants solid sound without all the complications of a full hi-fi system. Is it a complete system, and most importantly, is it hi-fi? Well, let's dive into that and find out. Now, ELAC is an old German company that started out by making Kriegsmarine sonar systems for surveillance. So back in the 30s or the 40s of the last century, the company was probably in great demand. But for the past 60-odd years, they have been making audio equipment, and in their speakers, they typically use those AMT jet tweeters along with aluminum sandwich woofers, and altogether it creates a very fast, very detailed, very precise, but not harsh sound. So in these speakers, there is nothing of the sort, so forget about it. Now, in our industry, ELAC has always been known for making high-end loudspeakers that typically start at around £2,000. But in the 21st century, ELAC decided to step into the entry-level market, so they launched those Debut series loudspeakers. How they managed to get that sound signature in this rather small box is still a big question to me. And shout out to ELAC engineers to making that happen. Now, ELAC have been incredibly successful with their Debut series, but all of their speakers have been made passive, meaning that they require an amplifier to drive them. But just 2 years ago, ELAC took a bit of a new turn as they introduced the Debut Connex DCB61 speaker, which marked their first proper step into the entry-level active, or should I say, powered speaker market. So this speaker over here is basically the new addition to their existing active range. How different is it from the DCB41? Well, they are bigger, and the clue what's actually bigger is in the name, as the number 6 in the DCB61 refers to the 6.5-inch mid-bass driver right here on the front. So what does that bigger driver actually mean in practice? Well, that essentially means there is more bass, and according to the specs, it can go down to 41 Hz, which is quite low for a bookshelf speaker, and having a bigger driver would of course theoretically enhance the overall performance and get you a soundstage that feels wider and deeper. Now, a lot of the bass response will depend on how the speakers are positioned in the room due to the bass port, and ELAC have designed a rear-firing slot reflex port which is located at the top of the back of the speaker, and unlike your typical round or hole style ports, this is quite a smart design, as it actually functions like a transmission line, which is something you'd usually find in higher-end speakers. But as with any rear-ported speaker, placement matters, so the closer you place them to a wall, the more the bass character can change. So be sure to have a play around with the positioning of the speaker, as they may need some breathing space for optimal performance. Now, once you've found a good position for your speakers, you're still not quite happy with the bass response, there is a feature on the speakers called X-Bass, which you can find in the ELAC app or right here on the remote control. So this function will boost your bass if you have it enabled. But another thing that's worth noting is that there are actually 2 levels of this X-Bass feature. So it works like this. If you press the button on the remote control once, it means that the X-Bass function is activated. But if you press it again quickly, it boosts the bass even further. So it's a really nice and handy feature to have if you want a bit more low-end without changing your speaker's placement. Now, if you're still not happy with the bass, what can you do? Well, you can add a subwoofer to these speakers, as there is a subwoofer output that uses a standard RCA connector, and it is located here at the back of the primary speaker. So at this point, it's worth mentioning, with this setup, one speaker is the main unit and the other one is secondary. So all of your inputs are actually found on the master speaker, and the master speaker is powering the secondary speaker via a supplied speaker cable that connects the two together. So, speaking of the technical aspect of these speakers, they were made with the main goal of being as versatile as possible. Ideally, you would have these speakers set up somewhere in your main entertainment area at home, so if you've got a TV unit, they are a perfect fit right there, as you would have your TV connected to it, along with perhaps a couple of other sources, such as a turntable or a CD player. For a turntable, there is a phono input, which means that there is a phono stage built in, so you won't need to have a separate one. And for the rest, you have Bluetooth, an RCA input, an optical input, and also a USB port in case you want to connect the speakers to a PC. So all of those inputs can be controlled by pressing the volume knob, which is located at the back of the primary speaker. And as an indication to which input is selected, there is a small LED light on the front of the speaker, and it changes color depending on which input is active. Now, to control the speakers, you don't always have to use the controller at the back, but you can also use a remote control, of course, or you can use the ELAC Control App, which was designed specifically for the Connex series of speakers. The app itself is pretty simple, and it's not overloaded with features. But from there, you can switch between inputs, turn the X-Bass feature on or off, enable or disable the subwoofer output, and tweak a few other handy settings. There is also a basic EQ setting, so if you want to tweak the highs, mids, or lows to better suit your room or your taste, you can easily do that right there. It is a basic app, but it's just nice to have it there, as not many products at this price point have an app anyway, so it's great to see that ELAC have put an effort into developing one. Now, one thing we haven't talked about yet is the sound. And in my honest opinion, I should say that for the money, this speaker really delivers. The 19mm soft dome tweeter has a slightly soft character, and it gives you a smooth, laid-back top end that's never fatiguing, but still detailed enough to pick up all the little nuances in your music. These speakers can easily fill in a room of around 300 square feet, and they're not shy when it comes to volume. They play loud, wide, and with a real sense of scale. So this isn't just another Bluetooth speaker. This is a proper entry-level hi-fi system, and to be honest, in my opinion, it can easily outperform some traditional setups where you've got a basic amp and a pair of passive bookshelf speakers. The sound is full-bodied with a wide soundstage, and you can really feel that the 6-inch driver is doing its job well, as it delivers punchy and well-controlled bass. This speaker was made with an idea that it will appeal to the masses, and it really does what is expected from it by handling a variety of genres and most kinds of popular music. Now, as for the accessories, the speakers do of course come with the remote control, which I mentioned before, but they also come with a pair of speaker grills that I got here. So they're not magnetic, so you'll need to manually insert them into the mounting holes on the front. It is a pretty standard grill, but in a proper hi-fi setup, the general recommendation is to keep the grills off, since they can slightly affect the sound. But of course the difference won't be massive, so if you prefer the cleaner look with the grills on, or if you want that bit of extra protection, then go for it. The last thing I must note about the accessories is that the speakers come with a speaker cable that connects the two speakers together, so here it is. The primary speaker powers the secondary speaker, and it is connected using the speaker terminals at the back. This is a very high quality speaker cable, as it uses a 4-DIN pin connector at the end of it, and unlike on the DCB61 ELAC bookshelf speaker, it's not a standard speaker cable, but as I said, it is a very good quality cable, and it is 5 meters long, so ELAC's got you well covered in case you want to position your speakers further away from each other. Oh, right, and I almost forgot. These speakers come in 4 different color options. So if you're not a fan of this lovely olive color that we have here in the studio, then you can look at black, walnut, or white options. So you can pick the one that fits your space and style. So, to sum it all up, I just want to say that this is a very nice little speaker that can be a great solution for a variety of applications and setups. It is definitely a lifestyle product, clearly aimed at a younger audience, but it delivers a proper sound and is coming from a renowned hi-fi manufacturer that definitely knows how to make a good hi-fi product. It is particularly good if you're looking to start with a proper stereo setup, maybe to replace a plastic soundbar, or if you just don't want to get too deep into the world of separate and complicated hi-fi gear. These speakers come with plenty of connection options, with Bluetooth of course being one of them. But if you're after a bit more in terms of streaming or smart functionality, you can easily connect something like a WIM Mini streamer to one of the inputs on the back of the primary speaker. These ELAC speakers will be available for demonstration at our London showroom, and they're also available to be purchased through our website premiumsound.co.uk. So if you're interested in trying out a set, you know where to go. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. But for now, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.